Hello and welcome to another edition of IIABCal Voices. I'm your host, James Lott Jr. And I was in the insurance industry for about 10, 11 years. And then I left and went to Hollywood. Well, now, 12 years later, I'm back. And now I'm back in the industry. Well, I'm still doing Hollywood, but now I'm talking to people who are in the insurance industry. Many of them are my friends. And so what makes it so much fun is I get to see and reunite with them after all these years. This time, we kept in touch over the years, but now we're actually reuniting on camera. And I'm so excited to bring this person. He has a voice, like a voice in the industry. You're going to hear about that in a second. But he also has done much service to the industry and to the Big I of California. And he's a producer at ISU Calgard Associates here in Southern California. And he is my friend, Mike Scott. Hello.
Mr. James Lott Jr., sir. How are you? So great to see you.
We look the same.
Likewise, my friend. Actually, you look better. There's less of you to look at, I feel like, these days. You look amazing. You look great. And you're like way more famous now than when I used to know you back then. And you're still cool with us little folks. So
yeah, of course. I always remember the little people I step on.
That's right. Remember the little people.
As you step on them, you remember them. But no, the thing is, Mike and I have known each other nearly 20 years. And so that's why we're saying this. It's been a long, we were babies in this industry a long time ago. I think we probably met at a YBAC conference. I think that's probably what
we did. Yeah. Like 2003-ish. Yeah. I was trying to remember.
Okay, so wait a minute. So how long have you been in the industry total then?
Well, 2002 to now. So do that math. 21 years-ish, right? No.
No, you're almost 2002. I'm bad at math.
Hold on.
You're 19 years. You're almost 20 years.
Yeah, that's it.
I flunked math in high school. Somehow I got through. So almost 20 years in the business. That's when you just like right now, you don't think about it all the time. You're in the business working. But when we stop for a second and say that.
That's a big number. Yeah.
Yeah. What does that mean to you?
It's just amazing. I didn't start out with this intent of being 20 plus years later. But it's just been an amazing circumstance of events that has just culminated into now being to the position to where I am today, and it's been it's great.
So because going into it, what were your thoughts, if you can remember, what insurance might even be like? Did you have any thoughts?
It's funny. I came from the world of retail. So starting young, working in college, and I decided, I better get some work experience going on. And I started in audio, and I was working in retail. And every time it was Thanksgiving or it was Christmas or any of the stuff where there's family gatherings, guess who the guy stuck at work is?
Me too, I know.
So I had an amazing opportunity through a family friend, as a lot of people kind of fall into this industry through that, friends, family, or otherwise. And he kind of said, "You're pretty good at sales. What do you think about giving insurance a try?" And in the back of my mind, I thought, I don't know an awful lot about it, but I definitely admired who he was, and he had been highly successful and was willing to give me an opportunity. So I said, okay. As my dad always jokes, what could go right? Just give it a try. And so shout out to Jeff Pyle, who I used to work for many years. And once I got my feet wet and started getting into the industry, here we are. It's just been a very amazing ride.
So you were with Pyle Insurance, now right. Calgard for the last 6 years.
Yeah, right.
Was it hard to leave Pyle because he did the business? It was really hard.
It was.
How was that decision for you?
I think in general, not everybody, but a lot of people fall into a comfort level of what they know, and that is a double-edged sword. It's dangerous, but it's good. And I think for me, I kind of wanted to always aspire to something bigger, at least for myself. The other thing that factors into that is having a family. Once I got married, then we had kids, and then you have all the rest of life stuff that comes along, mortgages and tuitions and all those things. And so I think it gave me an amazing foundation to then spring from to go into the next thing. And that opportunity came when I came to Calgard. So what
was the conversation? Was it like, hi, I've been here for a while. I'm just curious, how
does that one go?
Yeah, how's that go?
What's interesting? I think it's two things. The brutal honest truth is it's tough because it's not only a boss, but it's a friend and then your family, which is your work family. So you work with somebody for 13 plus years, you get pretty close and pretty bonded. I think the good thing is that he realized the opportunity for me, and he's very supportive in that aspect. So I think while it was maybe an initial shock and an adjustment period, it was fine because he knew that it was for the greater good for me and what I was trying to do to take care of my family. So.
Well, no, I bring it up just because I want people who watch this, and I have people who watch this show who are not in insurance, but are in different other areas in life. I think it's good for people to hear this, that, you got to do what's best for you sometimes. What's best for your life, your development, your growth. And sometimes it's tough because we all get into these work situations various ways. It could be through family. On this show, we've had it through family, through friends, through a colleague, spouse, whatever. And sometimes you have to spread your wings and go a direction that you need to go. And it may be tough to do initially, but it's very important.
Absolutely. Well, and you got to take chances sometimes. You got to bet on yourself, right? And you got to say, okay, this is what I've been doing. This is what I want to continue to do. And this is going to be the best avenue for me to do it, or at least try it, because we're not getting any younger. Situations aren't always going to be available. And you got to just go for it sometimes. So
you came from retail. So did I. I was in retail when I did an agribusiness conference. I came in as just to kind of help out, and I saw that my former colleague Nicholas Paris needed help.
Nick, my buddy Nick.
So I came on from do that, and then I ended up staying. I was staying for, like I said, I came for like a few months and stayed for years. Yeah. Retail was a trip, obviously, and I want to ask you, because we have another person on the show who was from retail too. What are a couple of things you brought from retail that you brought into insurance?
That's a great question. I would say the biggest thing about life in general, but for sure sales, you got to know what you're doing with your product. Obviously, that's important. Knowledge is key. But what we do so much every day is about people. It's interaction. It's interpersonal. I feel like some days I should be charging by the hour because I'm a counselor. I'm a therapist. You name it. Every time that phone rings, it's going to be something different. And I think at least for me, the one thing I think that distinguishes me from a lot of other people is just personality. They are clients, but you start to establish relationships and trust, number one, because I think that's the single biggest thing when somebody calls is they know they can trust you and have a conversation and understand it and discuss things. And so it's a people business. And I think that's what's kept me in it for as long, because I've heard people say it. Insurance is not, I don't wake up in the morning and go, yes, insurance, woo. But by the same token, this sounds weird, but I don't dislike what I do either. And I think there's a lot of people that get stuck in a rut and just continue to do it because they don't know what else they can do. So I like what I do. And more importantly, I like who I do it for and in the place that I'm able to work. So as far as that retail tie-in, I think you just learn how to manage people, because everybody's bringing something different to the table every day. Somebody's upset, and they may not just be upset at you, but that gun might be pointed at you in that regard. And so learning how to navigate and understand people, that's
very true.
Yeah.
You hit on several things that I like. And one of those things is that it's, I say everybody should work retail. Everybody should either be a waiter one day for, or work a retail job on the floor. I feel like everyone should do a sales thing twice their life, because it really teaches you a lot about life. Yeah. You have to meet people where they are, right? It's like you have to meet them where they are at any given level.
Right.
It's kind of a crazy thing, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. Right then, right there, we're doing it. This is it. It's.
And you have to be present and see what they need, right? You have to know your product, that's in retail too. Know your product, whether you're selling jeans or selling a smoothie. Know your product. But also listen to them, see what is it they want.
That's right.
What they need, so you can fill that, correct?
That's right, 100%. And I think the back end of that is the trust building, so that, at least with insurance, they're not going to be so keen to hop onto the next thing when somebody calls and says, hey, I can save you $20. They're going to remember that, no, the service and the person and the trust factor becomes a much bigger component of that relationship. So.
Actually, it's true in retail too. It can be sometimes. You can repeat customers, and they go, "That's the guy who sold me the car last time," or "That's the guy who sold me the jeans last time." Right. The trust thing is the trust thing. Period. When they feel like they can come to you and you're not just BSing them.
True.
They walk away.
I have a lot of clients to this day that were clients of mine in retail that had become repeat clients, and then they found out that I was leaving where I was working, and they said, "I don't care what you're selling. we want to buy it. I'm not exaggerating. And
Right.
so those have turned into lifelong clients, lifelong referrals. It just gets back into everything. You never know what experience is going to lead to something else later in life. So everybody's, you learn a lot of valuable lessons that way. I always remember a story about a guy coming in that looked like a homeless person. I mean, he really did. He was in tattered clothes, looked terrible. And one of my coworkers basically was like, look at this guy, what, don't help him. And gave him some time, gave him some space, finally approached the guy. Anyway, the guy was like a millionaire. He purposely goes out looking like that to see who's going to give him some time and attention, not based on his appearance or who thinks they're going to spend money. And he ended up buying a bunch of stuff, and he turned to the other sales guy and he said, you take this as a lesson. He said, don't ever judge a book by its cover, because you never know who you're dealing with. And it doesn't have to be that deep all the time, but you never know in life who you're dealing with. So
yeah, that's true. That's very true. What is one of the things you like about sales?
Sales is an interesting thing because I feel so much like with insurance, it's not a tangible, right? It is and it isn't. You're taking care of people, but it's not a widget. You're not giving
it's not this, it's a pill.
Yeah.
It's not some this.
Yeah.
Here you go. I'm selling you this. Yeah.
So in a way, it's getting that collaborative action with the client to, again, what you said earlier, what do they need? And then how do we accomplish that? And then impressing upon them the importance of it, because you're getting people to spend quite a bit of money on something that in the moment they don't feel they need, or I'm never going to use this, or blah, blah, blah. But those same people are the ones that are going to scream the loudest that they don't have the coverage they need in place. God forbid something happens when they need it. So my biggest thing is sales through education. You don't have to buy this, but I'm going to tell you what this is. I'm going to give you some examples that'll happen if you don't have it. But if you don't, that's okay. But you're going to sign right here that says, yes, I understand. You explained it to me. And at the end of the day, when you get people to go, yeah, you know what, that makes sense. And then to see it come full circle when the claim happens or something else, it just feels good to say, hey, you're taken care of. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
You have also done some, you're part of some committees over the years and things with the big eye. How important has the big eye been in your career?
It's been huge. It's been invaluable. I think a lot of that also stems from just the people relationships. I mean, just yourself. This is a weird thing, but here we are 20 years later.
Right, I know.
And I'm sitting here talking to you, and it's all because I decided to go to a conference. There's so much that organization does with regards to, legislation and regulation up in Sacramento, and the lobbyists and the things that the organization does just for the independent agency as a whole. But I would just say the quality of people that are part of that organization, and you're interacting with people that are doing the same things that you're doing on the daily basis, and they understand what that process looks like. So it's like-minded people with like-minded goals. And to me, it's been a great value to be part of IIABCal.
Yeah. I'm going to ask you a question that's completely left field.
Okay.
Because I can.
Okay. And you are. Go.
Okay. Michael Scott is your name.
It is.
I mean, I have a friend who actually worked on The Office. So, I mean, she worked actually on there. I mean, did anybody ever say anything when they hear your name?
All the time. It's really funny. You get a lot of snickers because, people call for a variety of reasons, dealerships,
yes.
Whatever. The phone's always ringing. And I go, can I get your name, please? It's Michael Scott. And then inevitably you hear a little chuckle. And I say, yes, that's my name. And then they say, oh my God, I can't believe I was going to ask you. But then the opposite held true, because for a while it seemed like every time somebody would hear my name, they would just lose their mind. Oh my God, Michael Scott. Oh my God. So then I started going, yeah, that's my name. And then a few times it just fell flat like crickets. And I'm going, oh, you don't watch The Office? They're like, what's The Office? And so, yeah, you got to be a little careful. But yes, in fact, my wife even bought me a Dunder Mifflin
there you go.
shirt.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's interesting because I knew you before the show came out. So, I mean, that was your name first. It was your name. I mean,
it was my name. Yeah.
Like what an interesting, for them to come up with that as the name.
The weirder thing is his middle initial on the show is Gary, Michael Gary Scott.
Yeah.
My middle initial is G, but that's my dad's name. So it's kind of a weird deal. So yeah, I know. What are you gonna do?
I mean, of all the names in the world,
He's brilliant. He is so awkwardly brilliant on that show, but it's
yes, yeah,
makes it work. So
it's a bomb. But I looked at the other day. I go, his name was. I mean, but like he had the name first. Like he was got first, and now
that's what she said. No, he's
exactly. I'm just like, it's such an interesting of all the names to choose. It's not a common. I mean, yeah, you have two common names. Separate,
yeah,
but not.
There was a famous pitcher for the Houston Astros back in the '80s named Michael Scott. So it's out there.
Okay.
Yeah, it's the curse of two first names though too, because even totally separate from the whole tie-in to The Office, inevitably, and it used to bother me, but it happens so often that I just go okay. But everybody goes, okay, thanks, Scott, because it's a first name.
Oh yes.
So okay, that's cool. So I get Scott a lot. Thanks, Scott.
A month ago, I don't think I've told a story on air anywhere, but I'll tell the story to you and the viewers and listeners.
Yes.
I got a phone call from my mother one morning saying, "Oh, you're still alive." I go, "Yeah." As I check yes, I'm still alive. But no, she goes, "Go to the news." There was a James Lott Jr., my age, 52, who was in the entertainment industry, who passed away.
Oh my God!
At first, her thought was like, I should know before. I mean, I should know before anybody else does. But what if I didn't? Like, so it's kind of a weird. Again, my name isn't common. I mean, James is common, not that common,
and a junior, no doubt.
And a junior, and so, but it's the second time. Earlier last year, a guy sent me a message on Instagram and said, "I was Googling my name and all your stuff came up. So I just want to tell you, congratulations for making our name famous." And then so now we're friends. Another James Lott Jr. So it's like it's kind of crazy. Okay. He's in the fitness game or whatever, but it's like he was Googling to see, you can see it, and all my stuff came up.
Well, hey, that's what you get for being so fabulous, man. I mean,
I'm just saying names are so crazy, but the Scott thing, that makes me call you Scott by accident.
I suppose if my last name were Chris or something, okay, thanks, Chris. But I try not to. At first, I took it as a sign of disrespect, but it's just a common first name. So I go, hey.
There's a name there's a phrase for that. I can't remember what it is, but like just one of those weird things that happens. They see it differently. And then for you, also, you are half Latino.
That is true.
Which is how you say. Bernard. Yes.
Correcto, señor Lott. Yes, soy mexicano también. Yes.
Puerto Ricano here, so exactly, Boricua. So we both come from that heritages of that. Now, do you speak Spanish for clients? Do you have any Spanish clients, or do you speak Spanish for clients?
I do. Actually, it's been a valuable asset. In fact, that'll happen a lot where somebody calls the agency and nobody else can help them, so they'll transfer them over to me, and it's good. I'm probably 95% conversational and probably about 95%, fluency. So I read it, I can write it and speak it. So yeah, it's good. It's been helpful. And there's a very prideful sect of folks that are desperately trying to speak English, and good on them, and God bless them for doing it. But if you try and speak Spanish to somebody who necessarily doesn't want to and wants to speak English, that can be a little offensive. So you got to be slightly careful. But to me, no, I think it's amazing to be able to communicate. Crazy side story, because you like side stories.
I do.
I interacted with a guy who, what nationality? I feel like he was Chinese. He didn't speak English. I didn't speak Chinese, obviously, but the both of us spoke Spanish, and we could fully communicate. And it kind of blew my mind, the takeaway of going, that's just odd, but
wow.
Yeah. So
it's got a language to communicate in.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing. You can't even script that kind of stuff. I love that. That's amazing.
Yeah.
I know a guy who's Korean, adopted by Latinos, and speaks fluent Spanish. But he was Korean, and he was adopted. He said they just spoke Spanish to him. So when he goes, I tell people, you go to places like South America, Central America, there are a lot of Chinese, Japanese, German. I mean, all kinds of stuff all down there. They're all Spanish. They speak Spanish, and they born and raised, and it's through Chile and Argentina and Brazil. They're all down there. So I mean, it's one of those things. You can't catch the book by its cover.
That's right. Getting back to that.
I'm not tie it back together. I'm not tie it all.
So good. You're such a professional.
But how can we recruit, or we need more perpetuation, of course, in the industry, but how can we bring in more people, maybe people of color, people, or Hispanic, Latino, what names would you use? Latinx, Latino, Hispanic. What are some thoughts you have?
It's an interesting thing, because a lot of it just attracting talent in general, right? Because insurance, I think a lot of people find, is It's not sexy. It's not the, I'm going to be a policeman. I'm going to be a firefighter. These noble type careers. I think it's just reaching out. And I know that there are some programs that IIABCal has now through InsurPATH and otherwise, and it's actually starting to become a thing. It was the old joke where you can't major in insurance in college, but you actually can now. So I think kind of through their hard work and investment and just reaching out, whether through colleges or other sources, it's a kind of a bigger task, but getting the knowledge out there to attract that talent pool and basically impressing upon them that, this is a really viable type industry. It's not something I would have come to on my own, but and I think it gets back to education, just the amazing amount of freedom. This is one of these industries that if you are going to start into something like this, you want to start young, because it's not an easy path to you don't do this at 50 years old and try and build a book of business and take care of it. However, the residual incomes, as we know, the longer you build a book of business and have more of an established client base, that starts to afford you your freedom, so that when you get up the road a little bit in life to where you want to have that luxury, you can. So, just having whatever that would be, a mentor program or a sponsorship program to where people can interact and just realize, hey, we're just regular people. This is the career path that we've chosen to do. And if you stick with it, it's pretty good. So.
You have a wife and twins. I do know your wife.
I do.
And twins. How'd you guys survive COVID?
You know what? We have been so blessed. I'm in a fortunate dynamic that we opened up a satellite office of our corporate office here in Monrovia, which is very close to my house. So presently there's only 3 of us here. So we are all socially distanced, and we were able to, maintain that. We kind of limited any walk-in traffic and things like that. My wife, who has an extremely stressful job, has been working from home anyway, so she didn't have to go in. And then through the grace and just sheer awesomeness of having really good neighbors and good family who all live in close proximity, we were able to manage the school load with the kids, doing Zoom and that kind of thing. I built a 35-inch flat screen TV and hooked the computer up to it so that the kids didn't have to stare into this little box.
Oh, wow.
All day, every day. And because they're twins and they're in the same class, they got to share that. So trying to stay connected with people and some of their friends in a small pod so that it wasn't total isolation for them. And we were fortunate, but I know there's a lot of people that was not the case for. And we were certainly, it's more difficult, more of a struggle, but we got through it pretty well.
How old are your twins now?
They're 7. They're going to be 8 in October. So
Trying
to see if I have a quick, I don't know if I can do it.
Yeah, you're fine. You have a good picture.
Hold on. Does this translate? Let's see. Can you see them?
Yes, it is. Oh, how cute.
I got to get a shameless plug in for the wife and the kiddos.
It's cute. They have their glasses on. It's so cute.
Yeah.
Which one is more like you?
Probably my daughter, Abby. They're both pretty even-tempered, but she's a little bit more like me. I'm very spoiled. They're both, daddy's girls.
Of course.
But they're both very competitive.
Okay.
And, but yeah, I'd say of the 2. So I have an Ava and I have an Abby.
Yes.
And Abby is probably just a little slightly more like me.
I like that.
More even keeled. The other one, that makes it sound like I'm not adventurous. The other one's just, let's go. Let's do it. Let's jump into everything. But yeah, probably Abby.
What is one thing you've learned fathering daughters?
Oh my God. So interesting.
I knew you were single. I knew when you were not married. I knew all beforehand.
You did. It's probably the best thing that's ever happened to me. Not that I needed any sort of reeling in or grounding, but I think my wife and I, who were both highly competitive and were athletic in sports and kind of did that, just assumed, we're going to have boys because that's what we're going to do. And we're going to be soccer and all these things. And we were very fortunate to get pregnant because that wasn't an easy journey. And then to find out we were having identical twins was just miraculous. And then to find out it was girls, it was just, it was a lot to take in. But I'm sure if I'd have had boys, I'd have had the same sentiment, but I can't imagine it any other way. And just raising good humans. It's a fine line about being a parent where you don't want to be overly hounding and hovering and all those things and letting them become the people and getting their own personalities. But I also say I don't want to raise little jerks. So But there is definitely something to be said for having little girls, allowing them to, at least for me as a dad and as a guy, they're constantly inquisitive. And I'm a DIY weekend warrior, fixing, building, doing stuff. And they're forever coming up and going, Daddy, can I help you do this? And the gut reaction is, no, I got it. I don't want you to get hurt, or this really isn't something for you to do. But I purposely try and stop myself and say, yeah, let me show you how to use the drill. Yeah. Or
why not? Yes.
Here's a hammer. Let's do these things. So I guess enjoying the girliness of them, but still instilling confidence in them to know that they can do whatever it is they want to do.
Yeah, make them strong women.
That's right.
And that man,
and they are.
Well-rounded. I'm like, give them a hammer, give them some tools.
That's right. Remembering them or telling them to take care of mom and dad when they make it big.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's gonna happen one day. That's how it works. That's so great, Mike Scott. Thanks for being on the show. Thanks for sharing your stories with us and your voice, which I love. And folks, stay tuned because he's gonna be on one of my shows. I tell him I'm gonna use his voice on my shows. Yeah, he has a great voice. Great.
Well, I can't compete with you, man. You're the original voice. It's James, man. It's cool. But no, this is an honor. I'm really happy that all these years later we've stayed in contact, and really proud of all your stuff. I know this is your interview of me, but super exciting to see you on TV and the Jimmy Kimmel spot and your podcast and all the things that you're doing. But yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much. If they want to book business with you or talk to you or anything, how can they find you?
Well, you can always go to our website, www.calgard.com. If you ever want to shoot me an email, you can do so at mikes@calgard.com. And it's worth noting there's no U in guard. I didn't spell it, but it's just CALGARD. And I don't know, all the regular LinkedIn, Facebooks of the world. It's out there, but the best thing to do is just pick up the phone and give me a call.
Yes, what's going on? Everyone who's listening to this podcast, a couple weeks ago, the podcast made it into our top 20 podcasts. So thank you so much for doing that. If you want to listen to this, all the episodes I have are available audio and video. So you get choices. We love choices, right? So if you want to actually listen to it while you're driving to work, stuck in traffic, at the beach, out on a plane, whatever, you can go ahead and go to any streaming service like Apple, Google, Spotify, Pandora, wherever. Just go wherever. Just look for iHeartRadio. Just look for IIABCal Voices. Hit the follow button, and you'll get all the episodes as they come out. And we have some great people. Our friend Dana Bartel is on one of the episodes. Her sister is on one of the episodes.
Oh yes, Miss Dana. What's up, Dana? How are you?
Love Dana.
Shout out to Dana.
Yeah, we love Dana. They're good friends. But we did an episode with her and stuff. So there's a lot of episodes out there. Some great people doing amazing things in this industry. And of course, this video and all the others are on my online network, JLJ Media. I'm one of the few people of color who has his own online network. And it's out there, and you can go to YouTube, look for JLJ Media, hit the subscribe button. It's down here somewhere, or down here, some red triangle thing. It says subscribe. I never point the right direction. I know it's here somewhere. But go ahead and like it. And then check out, I have 35 shows, ranging from Star Wars, being left-handed, to grandparenthood and soaps and everything in between, including IIABCal Voices. All the episodes are there in a playlist. Go ahead and check those out. And check out this, and share this interview with anybody who needs to hear about Mike Scott. So
that's right.
People too, if you need to share with them, let them know what's going on with him too. But we appreciate every time you tune in or you listen. We appreciate it. I'm James Lott Jr. You can follow me where all James Lott Jr.'s are sold at James Lott Jr. on all social media platforms, including TikTok. And go ahead and do that. And everybody, please take care of yourselves. Insurance is important. It's out there. If you need insurance, please get it. You get those coverages that you need, whether it's business, home, life, health, any of that stuff. We all need it. As an industry that is good through all kinds of economies. It's very good. It really is. Everybody, take care of yourselves. We'll see you next time.
James, thanks for being you.